Hello everyone, let's continue our discussion on the five element theories. In the previous video, we have introduced the definition of the five elements, and the contents of the five elements theories include the following three aspects. The first one is generating and controlling. Second is the overacting and insulting. Also, we're going to mention the relationship between the mother and child elements. These three aspects, the first, generating and controlling, are actually the normal or physiological condition of human health or the normal condition of the universe. The overacting and insulting are the pathological condition. So the first one is normal, the second one is abnormal. So in pathological condition, the generating refers to an orderly relationship among wood, fire, earth, metal, and water that promotes and benefits each other. So from the definition, we can see the generating relationship actually refers to the relationship that can promote and benefit each other. And also from the definition, it shows us this promotes and benefits is in an orderly relationship. In the orderly relationship, what does it mean? What kind of order? So as you can see from the picture on the right side, this kind of order is from wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So whenever we discuss the five elements, we actually use this order: the wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So this is, we don't put them randomly, its own order. And the generating refers to the relationship of promoting or benefits each other, such as the wood can benefit the fire can benefit the earth can benefit the metal can benefit the water also can benefit the wood. So this is in one circle. And also, sometimes you will ask why we use this order and why they have the relationship of promoting. So when we use this kind of order and this kind of relationship, this is also exactly why we keep the same title as the five elements. That's why we don't use here, we don't use the wood like A, B, C, D, E. The reason why we don't use these letters as the group, as the group name, why we use the wood, fire, earth, and metal. That's because you see, when we discuss the relationship, you actually can imagine something in your brain. That's the wood, where the fire comes from. You can see from the previous video, we show you the picture. When you brine or in your fireplace, you always put the wood there. So the wood can benefit the fire. You put the wood there, there will be more fire. The fire and the earth. If the fire burn the wood and the wood become ashes, after a long time, the ashes become the earth. And where does the metal come from? From the mining. You can see from the mining, they dig from the earth, from the ground, from the mountain. So this the earth can generate the metal. And the metal you can see from the your security gates in the morning, especially in winter. You can see in the morning there's on the on the gates you can see from the metal there's some water on top of the gates. So from these phenomena, also the wood can also refer to the plants. The water can benefit the plants. That's the way of thinking. So you can see sometimes these phenomena, although now we use science, because you learn the science and the science tell you why there will be water there will be like metals underground. There's another way to explain, but from the phenomena, what you can see from the phenomena directly, is the wood can benefit the fire. The fire can turn after burning the wood. The fire can generate the earth. The metal is from the earth. That's why it generates. So this relationship is generating. So sometimes they also have something to restrict each other. Otherwise, it will generate too much. So the second relationship is controlling. Controlling refers to orderly relationship of mutual restraint and rejection among wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So this relationship also in order, the same order of wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, but they restrict each other. The wood can reach the earth can reach the water reach the fire reach the metal, and the metal reach the wood. So as you can see from the phenomena, the wood and the earth, when you plant the tree or bonsai in the pots, after a while or after a few years, when you take the bonsai out, you will see that there's not a lot of earth left there. There might be other reasons of losing the earth, but as what you can see there is at the bottom there's only the roots. So for this condition, we think that the wood can control the earth, and also if there's a lot of water on the ground, what you can do, you put a lot of earth there, a lot of soil there. The dry soil can absorb the water, can make the place dry. So we also, for this phenomena, we also think that the earth can control the water. When you brine, you've got too much water. So when you got too much fire, you're burning your meat black. So what you can do, you put some water on top of the fire and the metal. When you want to reshape the metal, you put the metal in the fire. The metal is very similar to the axe. The axe, which made from the metal, and cut the tree, which is the wood. So that's when they skip one, it's the restrict. So actually, the generating and controlling relationship are the relationship to generate and control and to create a balance. Because the wood can generate the fire, and the fire will generate the earth. But see, in this circulation of generating, the the yellow circle of generating. If there's no control, the wood can generate the fire can generate the earth generates the metal generates water generates the wood. If there are no controlling, they only generate each other. This circle will be bigger and bigger, and it causes excess. So that's why the wood will control the earth. It generates here, but the wood can control here. They limit the earth. The earth can limit the water. So these two relationships are the balance of our universe. The next relationship is overacting and insulting. Overacting refers to excessive rejection or rejection of one of the 5 elements. So what does it mean here is the overacting. Remember from the previous slide, it says that the wood can control the earth. So we said that the wood can control the earth. But what happens if the wood control the earth too much? Then we call it overacting. They should not control that much, but they over controls. So we call it overacting. And the earth overacts the water. That's similar to controlling, but in the abnormal situation. The last relationship is insulting. Insulting refers to the reverse rejection and rejection of one of the 5 elements. So in the overacting and controlling refers to the relationship of the wood control the earth, which is normal or in physiological condition. The wood has to control the earth, but the wood should not over control, which is should not overact. But for insulting, in this situation, refer to the earth insult the wood. So they reverse the arrow. In this arrow, they reverse the earth insult the wood. So in this situation, it also is the pathological condition. It's abnormal. And when we discuss these theories, this relationship, so for these 4 relationships, it is actually 2, which are the physiological of generating and controlling, and the pathological of overacting and insulting. And here, especially for generating, in a generating relationship, the wood generates fire generates the earth generates the metal generates water generates the wood. In this circle of generating, we use our social definition. The wood generates the fire. Then because the wood is the mother element, the fire is the son element. So we use the mother and son to talk about the relationship between two different elements. Who promotes is the mother. Who is promoted is the son. So the wood promotes the fire. The wood generates the fire. The wood is the mother elements. The fire generates the earth. The fire is the mother element of the earth. The earth is the sun element. So when we discuss these two, water and wood, the water can generate the wood. The water is the mother element. The wood is the sun element. The reason why we use mother and sun is actually very similar in the family. The mother supports the son. So we use this kinds of relationship to describe the elements relationship. So that's the mother. There's one video from this slide. You will see the fingers of this gentleman. This is a trained video from the TV show, and you can see what he was doing. He actually counting his fingers, but while he was counting his fingers, it's actually he using the 5 elements theories. In this video he tried to tell or forecast what's going on in future. And what he was counting is actually the 5 elements. So that's another easy way. It's very similar when you learn your math. When you learn accounting, you actually doing the drafting on waste paper. And then for these 5 elements, what you can do, you can put these 5 elements in your finger, and then it will be much easier for you to remember. So the joints of the index finger, these joints, here you put the wood, fire, skip the middle finger, the earth, the metal, the water. So these 5 areas, you remember that's the location of these 5 elements. And then for the location here, you will remember that each joint, although here's not the joint, the fingertip, that's generating. Okay, this is the generating. And then when you skip one, it's controlling. The wood control the earth. The earth control the water. You skip one joint. So this is an easy way. The reason why you put here, this is because if you think about more complicated situation, it will be much easier for you to understand what's the relationship. For instance, if you want to understand what's the relationship between the liver and spleen. So although we haven't mentioned the Zangfu theories, the wood, when we study there, you will know the liver is the wood, and then the spleen is the earth. So these two, the wood and the spleen, the liver and spleen. So if you want to understand what's the relationship between liver and spleen, so you need to remember that the liver is the wood, the spleen is the earth, and then you can see here they skip one. The wood can control the spleen. That's also why for emotion problem, or someone feel angry, they don't want to eat, because the wood control the earth. They damage the earth, or they overact the earth. That's why the question at the beginning of our series, probably in the previous video, why someone have the liver problem will cause the poor appetite, or someone have the emotion problem cause poor appetite of the earth. That's overacting. The wood overacts on the earth. So that's the easy way to think about the relationship you can put on your fingers. The relationship between the mother and child elements. Impairments of mother elements due to the child elements. So that's the last aspect of the relationship begin to explain. For instance, the wood and fire. The wood elements and the fire elements. Impairment of the mother elements. So in this condition, the mother elements have problem, but the reason is because of the child elements. So when you think about this, you actually should think about our society. At home, the mother supports the child, but the child go to casino every day, and then the child goes bankrupt. And then the mother need to help the child. That's cause the mother problem. So in this condition, the impairment of the mother, when you see from the mother have problems. The mother lost her money due to her son. So that's the situation. The mother's problem due to the son's problem. The impairment of the child elements due to the mother elements. So in this situation, you also can think about the situation. What's the common situation of the mother and son? In this situation, the mother generates the son. But for instance, if the son is very strong, so again we use the wealth of the family because it's more obvious or much easier to understand. If the son is very wealthy or too wealthy, for instance, the son definition of too wealthy, and then the mother doesn't need to support the son, it will result in the mother become very wealthy. So in this situation, both the mother and the son are very wealthy. Although in our society, too wealthy is not an abnormal situation, but in our human health, each element should be balanced. They should not be excess. So too wealthy is also the problem. That's why we need a controlling. And the other situation is if the mother is weak and then the child also weak. That's because, for instance, in a very poor family, and then the child also poor and don't have enough nutrition. But this is not because of the son's problem. That's because of the family. So the mother's element, the mother element causes the child element problem. So that's another condition. The third situation, what can happen is the son is very strong. The son steals the mother's money. So the son become wealthy, but the mother become poor. So this is the son elements steal the mother elements, cause impairments of the child's elements due to the mother's elements. So that's the two impairments between the mother and child elements. In the first, impairment of the mother elements due to the child elements. In this situation, they will result In most of the case, it results in both situation of the mother and child elements deficiency. So from here until here, what we need to do is we need to remember the relationship among these 5 elements, and also you need to remember the mother and child relationship. Also, if you use the other elements, they will be the same. And then once you understand the theories here, and afterwards, when we study the 脏腑 organs, internal organs of our human body, it will be much easier to understand the relationship between different organs. That's why we introduced the theories at the beginning. The wood is the liver, and then the fire is the heart, and here is the spleen. So if you want to understand what's the relationship between the liver and the heart, or the heart and the spleen, then you can just put here the liver and the heart, and the spleen. If you want to understand what's the relationship between these two, that's the relationship between the fire and earth. So that's how we use these 5 elements into our practice, in our daily practice. So the last aspect we're going to introduce is the applications of the 5 element theories. What are we going to use that blend the physiological functions of the 5 zang organs and their mutual relationship? This we're going to introduce again in the future videos when we study the zang organs, when we study the zangfu theories. So we can use to explain the physiological characteristic of the organs. Construct the 5 zang organ system of the universe and human beings. So this is actually the relationship between human and the universe or the nature. What's the relationship? How to connect our human body to the nature? In which way are we connected? It's from the 5 elements. So for instance, the liver in our body related to the wood, and the spring, also the season of spring, also related to the liver. So the liver related to the spring. That's how we connect to the nature, to the seasons. You also can explain the pathological relationship between the 5 zang organs. So here should be pathological. So you can explain both the physiological and also can explain the pathological. Explain the mutual influence of 5 zang organs, the relationship in generating and controlling. So when we study the zang organs, we're going to explain in details how to apply these theories in our practice. You also can guide the diagnosis of diseases. So for instance, the example we talked at the beginning of our last video, we knew that someone got the liver problem, such as hepatitis. And then for this case, for this patient, we knew that the patient might have the spleen problem. That's inferring how severe disease is, and then we can use some treatments to prevent the spleen problems. That's the the determining of affected organs of vital organs. So if someone got liver problem, we will call it a spleen problem. But how do we know it might cause a spleen problem? That's because the liver can overact the spleen, and inferring how severe the disease is and the prognosis. So in this condition, it actually tells us that if someone got liver problem, some patient got liver problem, and if we see the spleen problem, that's because of the liver control the spleen. But if someone got liver problem, but you see the lung also have the problem, so that's the patient also may have the liver the lung problem. But when the wood overact the earth, if the earth insult the wood again, so in this case they actually mutual damaging each other. This is not a good sign. So that's how to infer how severe the disease is. And also guiding the treatments. The 5 elements, we can use different herbs according to the 5 elements theories. We also can use different acupuncture points according to the 5 elements theories. So when we study the acupuncture points, you will know we got the 5 Shu points. There are 5 different points on our hand and our hands and feet. Not only feet, actually, our upper extremities and lower extremities. There are 5 different points in each meridians. They related to different elements, and we can use these elements, the relationship, to control each other. So this theories we also going to introduce in our meridians and musculation. Determines the treatment principles, qualifying the mother and purging the child, or clearing the child. So for this, it's actually one of the important parts which we're going to introduce. Qualifying the mother and purging the child, it actually refers to the relationship between the mother and child. So if the mother is weak, then we can use the methods to tonify the mother. If we got the excess child, then we can purge the child. So these are the 5 Shu points we mentioned. Guides the treatment of the emotional diseases. Guides the treatment of emotional diseases. Do you still remember in previous video we mentioned there's one story of the literature story? That's one gentleman I told you. The one gentleman tried to write an exam in order to become the officers. So he tried to write the exam from his 20th, but he failed every time until his 50s. Eventually he passed the exam. But at that situation in China, if someone studied but they did not pass the exam, no one will appreciate him and everyone look down upon him. So imagine someone, they studied from his 20s, but they only passed the exam in his 50s. It's very similar to you guys. Now you're studying here at UJ in your 20s, but you will never graduate until your 50s. you can see how depressed you are. And even not only depressed, and you have no financial support, how can you support yourself for these 30 years? So that's exactly what happened to the gentleman there in the story. So when he passed the exam, he was very happy because eventually he became an officer, and he can have a salary, have a very promising future. So he feels very happy. But what happens there is, at that time, he was too happy. Too happy. Whenever we describe something with too, T-double-O, is always not a good sign. So too happy, he become mad. He become mad. So when we see this gentleman become mad, how can we treat this kind of condition? When we study the 5 elements, when you go back to the previous table, you will see the mad or the happiness. It's also the other word is joy. The joy is related to the heart. The heart in 5 elements is the fire. So the heart problem, someone got mad. It's a heart problem, and this is related to the fire. And then in the story, described that how we treated the gentleman. His neighbors took him to his father-in-law, who was a butcher. The reason why is because his father-in-law was very strict to him, and he was afraid of his father-in-law. So his neighbors took him to his father-in-law, and his father-in-law slapped him on the face once, and then he recovered. Although this is a story in a literature book, but actually there's some knowledge behind this story. You see, why the neighbors took him to the father-in-law is because he was afraid of his father-in-law. So that's the fear. The fear, you can go back to the table, you will see the fear related to the kidney. The kidney related to the water. Down here you can see in 5 elements, the water can control the fire. That's why we use the emotion of fear to treat the emotion of joy or of mad due to too happy. So that's the story. If you are interested in Chinese history, you see that there are many stories in this kind of treatments with different situation. Some stories happened in the palace with the emperors and the officers, but no matter what the background is, they actually similar story. They use the emotion of fear or other emotion to treat the one they can control, the elements they can control. But why? How can they use the emotion to treat the other problem? That's from the 5 elements, the theories. According to the law of generating, so how to apply these theories in our practice? Banish water to nourish the wood. So generating. To tonify the water to nourish the wood. So in this condition, the first one, in this condition, it's because the deficiency, there's not enough wood So we're going to, for this kind of treatment of wood, they don't have enough wood, we're going to benefit the water, replenish the water to nourish the wood, reinforcing the earth to strengthen the metal. So you see, for this kinds of law, we actually strengthen the mother. We always strengthen the mother, the mutual promotion of metal and water, reinforcing the fire to strengthen the earth. The fire, the earth. See, we always strengthen the mother to help the sun. The mother, the sun, the mother, the sun. The metal and water is quite tricky because they mutual generating. But for the water and wood, also the mother and sun. So that's the treatment principles according to the law of generating. We also can use the law of controlling to in our practice. So the first one is inhibiting the wood to strengthen the wood. So in this condition, it's the wood, the earth is weak. If the earth is weak, that's because of the wood overacts on the earth. So in this condition, what we can do, we can limit the earth, inhibit the wood, strengthen the earth. So in this condition, if you find these relationships are quite difficult to understand or to remember, you can think our social relationship. So for instance, there are two brothers at home, the elder brother and the younger brother. The elder brother always beats the younger brother, and the younger brother becomes weak. What your parents are going to do? Your parents are going to beat the elder brother, to limit the elder brother, to tell the elder brother not to beat the younger brother. On the other hand, that's another way to help the younger brother. So that's the inhibiting the wood to strengthen the earth. You limit someone control the earth. You can help. So in this law, you also can apply to other elements. Tonify the earth to restrict the water. So in this condition, because too much water, and then what you can do, you can tonify the earth. You can make the earth stronger to control the water. Law of controlling. Nourishing the lung to inhibit the liver. The lung is the metal. The liver is the wood. So the lungs the metal, the liver is the wood. So in this condition, if someone got the liver problem and the liver insults the lung, in this condition, what we can do, we can tonify the lung, we can nourish the lung. To make the lung strong, the metal strong, then the metal can control the wood. It is nourishing the lung to inhibit the liver. Reducing the south and tonify the north. So this name is quite funny. The south and the north, what do they mean? We go back to the table of the 5 elements. Reducing the south and tonifying the north. The south is the fire, the north is the water, or the south is the heart, the north is the kidney. So if they don't have enough water, you want to improve the water, to increase the water. What you can do, you can limit the fire. So this is very similar if you cook a pot of water on top of the fire, so in this condition, you cook water on your, okay, the other example is you cook your water on your stove. If you want to keep the water, what you can do, you can reduce the heat of your stove. That's exactly the same what happens here. Because water deficiency, what you can do, you can reduce the fire. Then when you reduce the fire, it can help to keep the water. On the other way to say is to tonify the water. That's reducing the south, tonify the north, or reducing the hot fire to tonify the kidney water. So if in the test we ask you what does it mean by reducing the south and tonifying the north, if there's a multiple choice, this A means that reducing the hot fire to tonify the kidney water, then you should choose A. If there's another answer to says that to reducing the liver fire to tonify the kidney water, then you should not. The reason why is because the liver, although the liver also have fire, the liver is the wood, not the wood is the east, not the south. That's why you see all these definitions, all these terms are related to the 5 elements. The last part of this video, we're going to discuss some of the characteristics of the Chinese medicine thinking process. So this is actually one of the topic of our philosophy, and also it's actually, if you learn the theories of here, from here characteristic only, you won't be able to apply, and that's exactly why we use all these 4 years to study, to change the way of thinking. But just in general, the characters of the way of thinking, the macro observation, what does it mean? Actually, it refers to similar to the concept of holism. In acupuncture theories, in Chinese medicine theories, we actually think about more than diseases. We think about the epidemiology. We think about geography. We also think about the climate or phytology, biochemistry, minerals. So all these we are going to combine them in our practice. We don't see our human body as the human body itself. We see the human body with the nature, with the society. Also, this is also similar to the overall research. We think about everything when we diagnose, when we see patients, we think multiple aspects from the nature, from the environment, from the human body itself, also the philosophy, the thinking in philosophy. There's one key aspect we're going to focus is this balance. All what we do is balance. We try to balance everything. We try to balance the qi. We try to balance yin and yang. We try to balance the 5 elements. That's exactly why when we discuss the relationship of the 5 elements, we always talk about generating and controlling. We want to generate, but we don't want to generate too much. That's the balance. So this kind of thinking of balancing, you will see a whole process of Chinese medicine and acupuncture: diagnosis, theories, treatment, and practice. And also emphasize the functional connections. We don't focus on what they are. We more focus on the function. And this character actually very typical in acupuncture, in Chinese medicine and acupuncture, because the philosophy gave us a very good example to skip the actual fact of what it is. What is it? Before you can understand the connection. So such as when we discuss about qi, we don't focus on what is qi, but we can discuss what's the movement of qi. What's the results of qi movement? Does anyone remember what's the results of the qi movements? The answer is transformation. So the transformation is the result of qi movements. We don't need to understand what exactly the wood, the 5 elements refers to, but we can understand the relationship among different elements. Also, when we discuss the organs, the Zangfu organs in future, you will see that our organs, when we discuss our physiology in Chinese medicine and acupuncture, you will see that we don't base on anatomy, although those organs work from anatomy. We also see the heart, the physical heart, but we also see the function. When we talk about the organ heart, we talk about the physical heart, we also talk about the function of heart. So that's the characteristics of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. We emphasize the functional connection. We focus on what's the relationship between the heart and kidneys. What's the relationship between the kidney and liver? Instead of the blood supply in your anatomy or in your physiology. That's why. So in the next video, we're going to discuss about the Zangfu organs, and then you will see what does it mean by the functional connections.